the head of ESG and sustainability at Shahi. Today I want to share a story that's personal and pivotal to understanding Shahi's journey and my own. It's the story of my grandmother. In the 1970s, my grandmother was a young mom living in New Delhi with 2 kids. My grandfather worked at a government job while my grandmother took care of the home. Although she didn't go to college or study past grade 10, she had learned how to sew from her mom at an early age. One day she decided to look for work to help the family earn more money and found a job at a local garment factory. She was surprised and encouraged to see that this factory was run by a woman. But after a short time working there, she decided she had to leave the job. My uncle was getting in trouble, skipping school, and so she was worried about him. She realized that she couldn't take care of home and work in the factory at the same time. The owner of the factory understood and told her that she's a good tailor. She asked her if she wanted to work on some of the orders from home. This work from home arrangement was ideal for my grandmother, and so she accepted the offer. Soon she had more orders than she could handle on her own. She began asking other women in the community to join her, and in a short time her home had turned into a small workshop with a group of local women working as tailors, earning their own income for the first time. The small home-based setup she started has grown into India's largest garment manufacturing exporter, with 50 factories across 8 states and over 100,000 full-time workers, mostly women. When I joined the company a little more than 10 years ago, I didn't know this story or much about the garment sector. In college, I had studied economics and political science, and I was interested in working in development. One of my professors at the time suggested that I look into the family business, and when I did, I was surprised to see how dependent this sector was on labor, and in particular women. The potential to lead development in garment factories became a lot more obvious to me when I discovered programs like PACE. This PACE was a soft skill training initiative for female garment workers introduced by GAP. This program aimed to go beyond regular buyer compliance by investing in women workers. Now this program has become RISE. While learning about PACE at the time, I also spent time speaking to various people in the company to understand their roles, what challenges they faced. And one recurring issue that I heard was the challenge of managing such a large workforce. At the time, Shahi was employing close to 60,000 workers, but they were facing high attrition rates. Every month, 5,000 to 6,000 workers were leaving. This problem felt like a reality that people had just accepted or learned to live with. But there were serious impacts this problem was having on Shahi's bottom line. My overall takeaway from these early conversations was that while Shahi excelled in manufacturing, there was a gap in addressing the needs of people. Our HR team was focused on the urgent and important administrative tasks, which prevented them from focusing on worker development. So we formed an organizational development team. The team was focused on creating development programs for workers that helped solve business challenges as well. Problems like labor attrition did not have to remain a reality for the business to live with. We saw this as an opportunity to understand and serve our workers better. This perspective opened Shahi up to working with many different partners and experts, and one of those was Good Business Lab. So while rolling out factory programs, we realized the need for evidence to know what programs were working and what programs we should scale up. For Shahi, we had a lot of programs at the local factory level, but not many had scaled across our entire company. Scaling across multiple factories that Shahi was operating required large budgets. And the partnership between Good Business Lab and Shahi helped us critically address labor challenges and take an evidence-based approach to investing in the solutions. From running multiple research experiments in Shahi's factories, the GBL team has learned the value of this approach applied to any labor-intensive sector. And as a result, we've now scaled GBL operations to many industries across many geographies. You've already had the chance to hear about the types of impacts we found from GBF's programs, so I won't go into the details of that again. But I will say that the organizational perspective at Shahi has shifted greatly as a result of the work that we've done. While women's economic empowerment has long been a natural outcome of garment factory jobs, we now see the value in pursuing this goal as a way to grow the business. So for all the folks here representing businesses, I'll conclude by emphasizing two key messages which we may have heard already in different forms. The first is about challenging paradigms. Let's not accept the limitations we face as given. In the garment sector, the huge attrition in factories doesn't need to be a reality we learn to live with. Let's take it as a call to action to see how to create jobs that workers, and specifically women, want to stay in. If yours isn't an industry that welcomes women, don't take that as a given. Take it as a challenge. The second point is the value of experimentation. Shahi's benefited a lot from experimentation, and in a sector that's as competitive as garment manufacturing can be, even large firms like Shahi can't afford to keep doing things the same way or becoming stagnant. Not everything will have impacts, but trying things and learning from successes and failures has been critical for Shahi's growth. The last thing I wanted to say, if you attend many conferences like this, you may feel like there's a lot of dialogue, but not always a lot of action. However, I've seen that if you work in manufacturing, you may experience this the other way. Lots of action and not lots of talking. But I see value in both. We have to talk and share learnings, set intentions and strategies. But then we also need to put our ideas into action. So I hope we can do both. Thank you so much. We'll now take a short refreshment break. We'll take a 15-minute refreshment break. Please be back at 3:45. And you can leave your headsets on the table. Thank you so much.